Good day. I am Erwin Schwella, the Dean of the School of Social Innovation at Hugenote. I am also facilitating a number of social innovation initiatives based upon an understanding of leadership, social innovation, social entrepreneurship, and social business. I have a long history in the field as a practical academic of leadership for governance, leadership for social innovation, and I'm very pleased to currently be associated with the School of Social Innovation at Hugenote and many other pracademical initiatives that we are driving. We also have to create an awareness of all of these initiatives, which we believe adds value to society on the basis of being value driven. We really add moral and ethical value, also with integrity, and we are always aware that one should be very careful if you invoke the notion of integrity, that you will be measured by the bar that you set for yourselves and maybe for others. However, it's not only about ethics and integrity, it's also about ethics and integrity. It is about creating also material and even monetary value. And that is confirmed by the fact that if we can change the effectiveness and the ethics of individuals and institutions in any country of the world, but specifically in South Africa, which is currently plagued by 3 pandemics. The first is the COVID-19 pandemic, the second is the gender violence pandemic, and the third is in actual fact the corruption pandemic. If we can particularly work with integrity to deal with the corruption pandemic, then we will also create material value, because corruption kills and destroys value. If you are corrupt and you have to steal 10 million in order to gain 1 million, because you have to hide the money and to be secretive about it and transfer it to banks and pay bribes, then you are destroying value which could have been used to build schools, to improve sewage, to build roads, to build clinics, and to make sure that we actually have vaccination in South Africa. So, from our side, we are going to make a series of inputs through this medium, the medium of videos and audio broadcasts, by means of which we want to make you aware, analytical, and active in our space. And for that purposes, we are now creating this series of inputs, also with a very kind assistance and help of Abri van Vuuren, who is a professional in this regard. And we have an organizing system. You can listen and look at these inputs on social media feeds that we will have. And when you do it, you can use some lenses. The lenses that we have used to create this particular product is first lens. We work with the ideas, the institutions, and the implementation of leadership and social innovation. So, in this series, sometimes we will focus on ideas. Sometimes we will focus on institutions. Sometimes we will focus on implementation, very practical and professional implementation. And sometimes in one of the talks, you will find ideas, institutional dimensions, and implementation. When you therefore look for a lens to interpret and to understand what we are saying, one lens would be to use what are the ideas that we are presented with? How are these ideas institutionalized? And how are the ideas implemented? So that is one lens. A second lens, which we also incorporate in this series of talks, is what we call the Schwella action learning model. When you watch these inputs, the videos, or listen to the audio, then you can ask 4 questions which can inform your understanding. And you can ask, what is happening here? What am I experiencing? What am I learning? You can ask, what is happening to me? Am I gaining something here? Or am I not gaining something here? The second question is to ask, why? Why is this interesting, informative, and educational to me? Or why is it not? What explains my reaction? The third question is, what lessons can I learn from this? In terms of when I do this type of thing, or in terms of dealing with the material? And the fourth question is, how can I use this in order to improve my performance and also the performance of my organization? So that is a second lens. The 4 questions. What is happening? Why? What can we learn from this? What happens? Why? What can we learn from this? And how do we build the learning back into the system? A third lens is to focus on this by using the set of value-adding, value chain components of the knowledge system. And that is, what do I discover in this talk? What new knowledge do I get? What new experiences do I get? What knowledge do I discover? Secondly, how do I assess that knowledge in terms of its usefulness, its validity and reliability for me? How do I use this knowledge? I've discovered some knowledge. I have decided that this is relevant to me, and how can I now use it? And how to use it is linked to the third part. That is to say that if I use it by sharing it and by using it, then I actually increase the knowledge. Knowledge is a very, very particularly fascinating commodity. You have more knowledge when you use it, and you have more knowledge when you share it than you would have had if you didn't use it or share it. So please share widely and use widely. So that is then the way in which you beneficiate the knowledge. And then the next step is you can look at this in terms of how do you actually disseminate the knowledge and how you scale it. So you can apply it in your own small working group, or you can apply it in your community, in your congregation, and in your broader society, in your work. So you can also scale and disseminate it in that way. And then once you have done that, then you have gone through the, shall we say, added value chain of knowledge. So there you've got 3 approaches which we have uncovered for you now, by means of which we construct this series of talks, and maybe 3 sets of lenses by means of which you can interpret it. And those 3 sets of lenses are the lens of ideas, institutions, and implementation, the lens that links to knowledge creation, knowledge sharing, and dissemination, and the lens linked to the 4 learning leadership questions, which are, what is happening to me? Why is this happening to me? What can I learn from this? And how can I build the learning back into my professional practice, into my system, in order to improve the world and make it a better place? So when you now watch these particular episodes, then try to interpret them and to fit them into a broader architectural scheme whereby they start to make sense to you as individual contributions, but also simultaneously in order to improve your systemic understanding of social innovation, leadership for social innovation, social entrepreneurship, and social businesses. I thank you, Erwin Schwella, School of Social Innovation at Hugenote.